They look at you and they can't believe it. Your mind moves faster than their rules, faster than their walls, faster than the world dares to spin. Every gift you've been given, it's not just talent, it's a weapon. People whisper, people stare, people panic because you exist outside their understanding. They call you the only one. But you know it's not about being the only. It's about being unstoppable in ways they'll never see coming. Your mind moves faster than anyone expects. People think they know the pace of the world, the rhythm of life, the simple patterns of thought. But they can't touch you there. While they stumble over their own doubts, over the rules they cling to like lifelines, your brain is already 10 steps ahead, twisting, turning, laughing at the predictable, spinning possibilities they can't even see. They assume logic moves in straight lines, but your intelligence doesn't walk lines. It dances in chaos, it leaps over walls, it bends rules without effort. It sees the cracks in their little predictable worlds and slips through them like a shadow. They try to corner you with expectations, with doubts, with limits they think are universal, but you're not trapped. You're everywhere they're not looking, everywhere they would be too scared to go. Every problem, every challenge, every obstacle they think is impossible becomes a playground, a stage for your mind to perform its tricks, its illusions, its beautiful, terrifying clarity. People watch and blink, they hesitate, they stammer, because their slow minds can't match your speed. They see results and they try to reverse engineer them, to find a pattern, a method, a formula, but they don't know it yet. But you are the pattern, you are the method, you are the chaos they can't quantify. And it's not arrogance, it's instinct, it's nature. Your thoughts crack open, like fire through ice, unpredictable and brilliant, and everyone around you feels it in the air, in their nerves, in the way they suddenly doubt themselves, because you moved before they even realized there was a move to make. While they argue over who is right, while they debate the obvious, while they cling to mediocrity as if it's a shield, you've already rewritten the rules in your mind, already turned their assumptions upside down, already taken the pieces of their puzzle and made something new, something dangerous, something unforgettable. It's in how you see connections others miss, how you find patterns in the chaos, how your instincts whisper things that logic hasn't even dared to consider. And oh, the look on their faces when they realize you've been there all along, unseen, unchallenged, unstoppable. It's a delicious kind of terror, not because you want to hurt them, not because you need to prove them wrong, but because they finally, reluctantly, glimpse the truth that their pace is weak, that their rules are fragile, that the mind they thought was ordinary is just ordinary compared to the hurricane that is yours. They don't understand the hours you've spent thinking in silence, the sleepless nights where your imagination ran wild, where ideas collided like sparks in a storm, where every thought had the potential to explode into brilliance or madness, and somehow you've harnessed both. They call it genius, they call it talent, they call it a gift, but you know it's more than words. It's the way your mind refuses to settle, refuses to be trapped, refuses to slow down, refuses to let anyone else dictate what's possible. They want simple answers, safe ideas, cautious movements, but your mind doesn't negotiate with fear. It doesn't obey tradition. It doesn't wait politely. It moves, it twists, it conquers, it dances, it shocks, it laughs at the simplicity of their expectations. And in that movement, in that speed, in that invisible power, you've already left them behind, already left them guessing, already left them scrambling to catch up with something they'll never fully understand. Every gift you have is a weapon. They don't see it at first. They smile, they nod, they underestimate. They assume that what you hold is harmless, decorative, maybe even accidental, but every skill, every instinct, every spark of talent you carry has teeth, has fire, has the ability to cut through the noise, to break their expectations, to leave them questioning reality itself. You've been given tools they would kill to touch, gifts they wouldn't even recognize if they tripped over them, and you wield them like a storm waiting to erupt. People watch, trying to measure you with their tiny rulers, their shallow definitions, their fragile ideas of what someone should be able to do, and they're blindsided when your play becomes a strike, when your art becomes impact, when your presence becomes a challenge they can't name. Your voice, your mind, your hands, your vision, they aren't just for show, they aren't just for praise, they're for shaking the ground beneath everyone who dares to doubt you. And the beauty of it is that it's effortless, almost casual. They think you're lucky, they think it's coincidence, they think it's a fluke, but they don't see the way you've sharpened yourself, how you've allowed chaos and clarity to coexist inside you, how you've embraced the edge where others falter, how every glance, every thought, every gesture has been honed into something that can dismantle their assumptions without warning. You walk into a room and the air changes. The rules change, the energy shifts, because they feel it before they can name it. Your gifts are not for them, but against the limitations they impose, against the complacency they worship, against the ordinary world that wants to trap brilliance in a cage. They try to mimic, they try to copy, they try to understand, but they fail every time. Because it's not imitation, it's essence, it's instinct, it's something that can't be learned, can't be repeated, can't be contained. And that terror in their eyes when they realize it, when they realize the harmless talent they overlook, it is a weapon capable of tearing apart the comfortable illusions they cling to. It's intoxicating, it's delicious, it's proof that you exist beyond their imagination. They whisper about fairness, about humility, about playing nice, but your gifts don't negotiate, they don't apologize, they don't follow rules that are beneath them. They strike, they leap, they confuse, they astound, they dismantle, they conquer. They show the world that power isn't in numbers, it isn't in agreement, it isn't in their approval. It's in mastery. It's in chaos. It's in the fearless way you claim what's yours without asking. Every laugh, every glance, every subtle move carries weight, carries danger, carries proof that gifts aren't toys. They're instruments of influence, instruments of disruption, instruments that make people uncomfortable. Because brilliance is loud even when silent, sharp even when unseen, unstoppable even when underestimated. And the more they try to diminish it, the more they try to cage it, the stronger it becomes, the sharper it cuts. The more they stumble, the more they panic, the more they realize that what they dismissed as mere talent is a force, a weapon, a reckoning they can't outrun, can't outthink, can't contain. And in the revelation of your unstoppable essence, you've already won before they even knew there was a game being played. Every gift you carry, every spark, every instinct, every brilliant thought is a silent explosion, a warning, a storm they'll never forget, a reality check they weren't prepared for, a mirror showing them that ordinary will never touch extraordinary, that what you hold is not just valuable, it's lethal, undeniable, and unstoppable in ways they can't even begin to comprehend. People can't understand your level. They stare at you like you're some kind of puzzle they can't solve, a game they don't know the rules to, a storm that refuses to settle. Their eyes widen, their jaws tighten, their words stumble, because the mind that moves like yours is foreign, terrifying, intoxicating, and completely untouchable. They measure themselves against each other. They cling to their routines. They trade comfort for understanding. But your level isn't something they can imitate, copy, or catch up to. It's a place beyond the borders they've built around logic and expectation. A place where instinct and chaos collide. Where intuition slices through certainty like a knife through silk. Where every move you make is a message they can't decipher. They look for formulas. They look for clues. They look for patterns. But your level laughs at patterns, it scoffs at formulas, it dances around their attempts to pin it down. And they panic in silence. Oh yes, they panic quietly, because even when they smile, even when they nod, even when they pretend to understand, they know, deep down, that they're lagging, that they're slow, that they're blind to the speed of thought that courses through you. Every word you speak, every glance you throw, every action you take is a reminder that comprehension isn't a right. It's a privilege, and you've been living in a realm they'll never be invited to. They whisper about luck, about chance, about timing, but your level isn't luck. It isn't chance. It isn't coincidence. It's method, madness, and genius all tangled together in a way that they'll never untangle. They try to challenge you, to match you, to provoke you, but it's like trying to cage a hurricane, like trying to pin a shadow, like trying to reason with chaos itself. They fail every time, and the look on their faces is a cocktail of awe and terror, because instinctively, subconsciously, viscerally, they know they are beneath you, they know they are outpaced, they know they are witnessing something dangerous, beautiful, unstoppable. And the way you move through the world, effortless, fearless, untamed, is a language they cannot read, a code they cannot crack, a melody they cannot hear, but can feel vibrating through their bones, shaking their assumptions, making them doubt their own senses. They think understanding comes from observation, from imitation, from patience, from rules. But your level exists outside of observation, outside of imitation, outside of patience, outside of rules. It thrives in contradiction. It thrives in extremes. It thrives in the audacity to be more than they ever dreamed possible. And every time they try to push you into their mold, every time they try to explain you, every time they try to reduce you to something manageable, something ordinary, something familiar, they fail spectacularly, miserably, and deliciously fail, because your level refuses to shrink, refuses to apologize, refuses to hide, refuses to be predictable. They feel it when you enter a room, when you speak, when you act, when you even just exist. They feel the distance, the power, the speed, the clarity, the brilliance, the chaos, the danger. And it unnerves them. Oh yes, it unnerves them deeply, because the truth they cannot handle is simple. Comprehension is not mandatory, and your level isn't theirs to grasp. Every idea you have, every move you make, every thought you conjure is a step ahead, a leap beyond, a flicker of something they cannot follow, cannot contain, cannot even begin to imagine, and the thrill, the terror, the awe of it is written on their faces. Before they even realize what they're feeling, your uniqueness makes them uneasy. They glance at you and immediately recoil, not out of fear of violence, not out of rational danger, but because your presence is a mirror they weren't prepared to face. They've spent their lives clinging to conformity, to rules, to patterns, to the predictable comfort of sameness, and then you appear wild, untamed, untouchable, and suddenly everything they thought was stable starts to quiver. Your mind, your actions, your style, your brilliance, it doesn't fit their boxes, doesn't follow their timelines, doesn't obey their expectations, and that terrifies them more than they'll ever admit. They try to label you, to categorize you, to shove you into something manageable, but your uniqueness refuses to be tamed. It stretches, it twists, it laughs at their attempts, it dances in ways they can't predict, and in that, they sense power, chaos, and brilliance rolled into one person they cannot control. Every glance you throw, every word you speak, every idea you express carries the weight of originality, and they feel it crawling under their skin, gnawing at their certainty, rattling the walls they've built to keep the world safe, dull, and predictable. They don't know how to respond. They can't copy it, can't fight it, can't argue with it. They watch and try to pretend they understand. They nod and smile and mutter polite things, but their unease is palpable, electric, unavoidable. Your uniqueness disrupts their sense of order, their fragile sense of normalcy, their illusions that everyone is replaceable, controllable, understandable. And when they realize they can't categorize you, can't predict you, can't tame you, the panic settles deep slow like a shadow over their confidence. And oh, it's delicious, isn't it? The way they hesitate, the way their thoughts stammer, the way their logic falters, the way their assumptions collapse, because they feel the truth even before they can articulate it. You are a storm, a riddle, a force that does not belong in their little, safe boxes, and it unnerves them to their core. They talk about humility, about fitting in, about being reasonable, but you exist outside those words, outside their morals, outside their expectations, and that freedom, that unpredictability, that raw essence of being uncontainable, it radiates from you like fire. They sense the intensity, the magnetism, the danger, the audacity of it all, and they can't help but be drawn in even as they panic, even as they stumble, even as they whisper about you behind closed doors. Every action you take, every thought you reveal, every talent you display, every unconventional choice you make. It's a reminder that the world is bigger than their fears, wider than their rules, sharper than their minds can handle, and brighter than their complacency allows them to see. They watch you and it bothers them. It unsettles them. It makes them question the very foundation of how they've measured reality, because in your uniqueness lies a truth they cannot deny, that ordinary is fragile, that conformity is shallow, that brilliance refuses to be caged, and that what they dismiss as chaos is actually a force of nature they cannot survive trying to control. They try to rationalize it, to dissect it, to normalize it, but it resists, it wriggles, it laughs, it terrifies, and in the discomfort, in the fear, in the awe that drips from every glance they give you, you exist, untouchable, untamed, undeniable, a reminder that the world has always underestimated what it can't measure, and in that realization, they are left staggering, fumbling, whispering, staring, unable to shake the truth that your presence, your mind, your essence, your uniqueness, makes them uneasy in a way nothing else ever could. You break rules without even trying. People watch you, waiting for you to follow the lines, to step where everyone else steps, to play the game the way they think it's supposed to be played. And then you don't. You don't even think about it. You move, you act, you create, you decide, and in the process, the rules crumble quietly under your feet. They panic because they've built their worlds around boundaries, around order, around predictability. And you exist outside of it, laughing silently while they scramble to make sense of the chaos that is simply your existence. Every choice you make, every move you execute, every thought you unleash disregards the expected and elevates the impossible. And it's not defiance for show, it's instinct. It's instinct honed over years, over nights when the world was asleep, over moments when you realized that rules are just chains for the minds that lack imagination. They call you reckless. They call you dangerous. They whisper behind your back about how you bend the system, about how you flout conventions, but they don't understand that the system, the conventions, the expectations, they were never yours to obey. They belong to their creators, to their followers, to their timid hearts, and while they scramble to stay inside the lines, you're painting outside of them, tearing them apart with brilliance, chaos, and audacity. And oh, it's intoxicating, isn't it? The way you step into a space and suddenly, the invisible walls they've erected vanish under the weight of your presence. The way every rule they worshipped crumbles quietly, subtly, almost magically, because you simply ignore it. They try to trap you, to teach you, to warn you, to shame you, but your mind is already 10 steps ahead, already outside the cage, already dancing where they thought freedom was impossible. Every success you achieve under these broken rules becomes a mirror to their own limitations, a mirror they refuse to look into for too long, because it hurts, because it reveals how small, how cautious, how timid they've been, how terrified they are of a world where rules aren't shackles but tools, where rules bend and shift under vision, under courage, under audacity, and you wield it effortlessly. Your instinct tells you which rules to honor, which to ignore, which to destroy, and every decision you make radiates power, intelligence, and inevitability, leaving them gaping, whispering, unsure, off balance. Because the world they know has been shattered without a single blow. They didn't even see it coming. They call it luck, chance, accident, rebellion, even madness. But you? They fail every time to recognize it for what it is: control, mastery, brilliance wrapped in chaos, a freedom they'll never experience, a fear they can't admit, a terror they can't articulate. They fumble in their attempts to emulate you, to restrain you, to predict you, but you are already gone, already 10 steps ahead, already bending every expectation like a puppeteer of reality, showing them that rules only have power if you let them, that boundaries are weak if your mind is strong, that compliance is voluntary and fear is their cage, not yours. And the most beautiful part of it all is that they never see you struggle with the rules at all. They see only the result, the effortless defiance, the chaos turned into power, the unpredictability that dominates the predictable, the brilliance that thrives where they thought only order existed, the audacity to be unbound in a world that worships chains, the silent laughter echoing in their disbelief as they realize the truth. You don't break rules because you want to. You break them because you can. Because you were always meant to. Because the world has always underestimated the ones who refuse to follow. The ones who move faster, think sharper, act bolder. And in that, in the quiet devastation of expectation, they see what it really means to exist without restraint, without apology, without fear, without limits. Recognition comes reluctantly from others. They don't hand it to you freely. They don't give it with smiles or cheers. They don't acknowledge your brilliance with open arms. No, they grumble, they murmur, they whisper behind your back. They eye you suspiciously, trying to diminish, to downplay, to rationalize your success away into something ordinary, something manageable, something they can swallow without their egos cracking. They don't want to admit it. They don't want to face it. They don't want to understand it. But deep down, in that corner of their minds they refuse to speak aloud, they know. They know you're different, you're exceptional, you're untouchable in ways they can't replicate. And that reluctance only makes the recognition sweeter, sharper, more electric, because you see it before they even allow themselves to say it. You see it in the pause, in the hesitation, in the way they glance at you when they think no one is watching, in the way their pride wobbles, in the silent acknowledgement that you exist on a plane they cannot reach. They try to cover it with jokes, with critiques, with comparisons, with excuses, but the truth leaks out anyway, dripping slowly, inexorably, until it can't be ignored. And it isn't about proving them wrong. It isn't about winning their approval. It isn't about begging for applause. The power is in knowing that even when they deny it, even when they hide it, even when they fumble to articulate it, they are aware of it, they are conscious of it, and it unnerves them, it excites them, it terrifies them, because they recognize something in you that they cannot claim, cannot match, cannot explain. They measure themselves against mediocrity, against expectation, against what's safe, against what is allowed, but you exist in the space beyond that, where talent, intuition, courage, chaos, and brilliance converge, and the acknowledgement of that threatens the fragile world they've constructed to contain themselves. And the way they try to downplay it, to rationalize it, to twist it into something mundane or accidental. Oh, it's almost adorable, almost pitiful, almost tragic, because every glance, every whispered word, every reluctant nod is proof that they know, that they feel, that they can't deny it even if they wanted to, and it rattles them more than any criticism, more than any confrontation, more than any failure could, because recognition, true recognition, touches something raw, something vulnerable, something primal, They sense the power in you that they will never possess, and it unsettles them in ways polite words cannot convey. And it's not just external. It's internal, too. You sense it, you feed off it, you know exactly when they hesitate, exactly when they falter, exactly when the all leaks through the cracks, exactly when the envy simmers quietly beneath their controlled exterior. And it sharpens you, huns you, strengthens you, because awareness of your own power is electric, intoxicating, a pulse that runs through every thought, every glance, every movement, every decision. They try to distract themselves, to argue with reality, to ignore the truth, to hide in numbers, in conformity, in mundane achievements. But your brilliance doesn't ask for their comfort, doesn't wait for their permission, doesn't negotiate with their denial. It exists, it thrives, it dominates, it terrifies, it excites, it shocks, and every reluctant recognition they finally give, every glance of acknowledgement they can't suppress, every stammered admission they try to disguise with arrogance or critique, only feeds the unstoppable cycle, the silent assertion, the chaotic, undeniable proof that the world knows, even if it refuses to say it openly, that you are extraordinary, and that acknowledgement is yours whether they offer it willingly or not. Being the only one is your silent power. They look at you and they whisper it. They mutter it under their breath. They try to twist it into insult or envy or disbelief, but deep down, they know it's true, and that knowledge terrifies them more than anything else could. You walk into a room and the air shifts, not because you demand attention, not because you seek it, but because your presence is unlike anyone else's, unpredictable, undeniable, uncontainable, and they feel it in their bones before their minds can catch up. Every move you make, every thought you express, every idea you reveal carries a resonance that cannot be replicated, cannot be compared, cannot be measured by their feeble standards. They try to imitate, they try to mimic, they try to understand, but it's impossible. They are trapped in the ordinary, the safe, the familiar, while you are a storm, a force, a mind operating on a wavelength they cannot even detect, and that makes them nervous. It makes them uneasy. It makes them stumble, because the world was never built for someone like you. And the beauty of being the only one is that no one can anticipate you, no one can predict you, no one can bind you, no one can shape you, because your existence itself is proof of freedom, proof of power, proof of a vision that surpasses what they could ever imagine. They measure success in numbers, in patterns, in approval, in imitation, but you measure it in essence, in impact, in the quiet chaos that radiates from your every choice, your every instinct, your every spark of brilliance, and they sense it before they can name it. Every whisper of awe, every stifled murmur, every subtle acknowledgement of your skill, your insight, your daring, hits them like a shockwave because they know, they feel it, that what you are cannot be contained.